Welcome back to my channel Grandma's Wise Vibes. They say compliments make women melt, but there's the truth. Most men give a compliments that do the exact opposite of kill mystery. They kill tension, and worst of all, they kill attraction. Think about it. Phrases like nice dress, you're pretty, or I like your smile. They seem harmless, right? But are they real effective? Not at all, because they're a predictable, safe, and complementary. They don't spark anything meaningful. They don't make her think about you after you walk away. Now imagine if I told you there's a different kind of compliment, forbidden compliments, the kind that women aren't used to hearing. But once they do, they can stop thinking about you. These aren't cheesy pickup lines or gimmick tactics. They're psychological triggers wrapped in words. And once you learn how to use them, you'll never look at compliments or female desire the same way again. So what makes these compliments forbidden? Because they're honest and powerful. They challenge her. Instead of flatter her, they disarm her. Instead of trying to impress her, they cut through the surface and reach deeper. And once they sink in, they leave a mark that lingers long after the moment has passed. But be warned, don't use these unless you're ready for the consequences. These aren't compliments that say I like you. These say I see the real you, and that's what makes you dangerous. Let's start with first forbidden compliment, the one that quietly turns the tables in your favor. You're hard to read, and I like that. Let that sink in for a second. Notice what you're really saying here. You're not calling her mysterious like some cliche line. You're not labeling her as complicated or impossible to figure out. Instead, you're acknowledging something far more subtle, that she is easy to decode, and rather than being frustrated by that, you actually find it attractive. Why is this so powerful? Because most women spend their lives being put into boxes, labeled, categorized, or misunderstood. Men either idolize them or try to analyze them to solve that puzzle. But when you say you're hard to read, and I like that, you're not rushing to decode her. You're not trying to break her down. Instead, you're enjoying being known. You're confident enough to sit with uncertainty, to appreciate the layers beneath the surface without needing immediate answers. That subtle latitude signals emotional intelligence and stoic masculine energy. It shows you're not needy for her validation. You're not intimidated by the mystery she presents. You're interested without being overly impressed, giving her the space to show up authentically, and that's rare. Here's the kicker. She'll think about that line long after you say it. She wonder what you see the others didn't. She'll try to figure out why it matters to you. And the moment she starts questioning what's going on in your mind, you've planted yourself in her head. It's funny, and most guys are desperate to be understood, but the man who doesn't trust to understand her becomes the one she's desperate to understand. And when the tension simmers quietly, she begins showing up more real, more open, and more curious. Why? Because you're not chasing after her mask, the surface image she presents to the world. You're drawn to her shadow, the hidden, complex parts of who she really is. Now that we've loosened her guard, it's time to go deeper. The next forbidden compliment walks a fine line between provocation and intimacy. You have an intimidating substance about you at first that might sound like a contradiction, but it's actually the perfect mirror for what you are trying to say. You're telling her, I see the part of you that's strong, but still feminine, tender, but guarded. And that's rare. Most compliments focus on her looks, her body, or her achievements. Spid, this one targets her essence. It targets the parts of her that are flashy or obvious, the softness that feels intimidating, because it's real and unfiltered. It's not performative. It's not a flirtatious game. It's the side offer that only comes out around people she respects and trusts. By saying this, you are giving her permission to be vulnerable. But at the same time, you're telling her that vulnerability doesn't make her weak. It makes her powerful. Here's what happens next. She's stunned, not because it's romantic, but because it's true. Because she's not used to being seen like this. She'll replay those words in her mind during quiet moments, wondering why that compliment felt different from the usual. And that difference, it's magnetic, it's captivating. It's the kind of compliment that opens doors to deeper conversations, genuine connection, unreal desire. So if you want to move big and safe and forgettable compliments, if you want to stir something real in a woman, start here. Start with honesty. Start with seeing her not just the surface, but the beautiful, complicated truth underneath. Because when you doth it, You don't just give a compliment, you ignite a spark. Why did it make me want to open up? Why did it scare me just a little in a good way? It's because that compliment is layered. You're not moved by beauty, you're moved by realness, and she feels that. Even if she can't fully articulate it now, if you've made it this far, and you're thinking, man, do women really think this deeply about compliments? Let me tell you something, they absolutely do not, because they're overthink, but because words that hit the heart stay much low. Anger than those that it just flatter the ego. Now, get ready, Becca's the last forbidden complimentos, just make her feel seen. It make her feel invincible, like the version of herself she dreams of being and the version she fears. No man could ever truly handle. Here does you'd be dangerous if you ever stop doubting yourself. Pause, let that sink in. This isn't flattery, this is recognition. You're not just complimenting her potential, you're calling her out in a way that's empowering, not patronizing, because whether she admits it or not, every woman, even the most confident, creates quiet self-doubt. You're no teenering it, you're saying, I see your fire even when you try to dim it. And that's terrifying to her, because now she knows you've seen the version of her she's scared to become, not because she's incapable, but because she's not used to women speaking to her future self with this much clarity, and that, my friend, creates her feeling she can't unfile. She'll replay it over and over. Dangerous. If I stop doubting myself, she'll start to wonder, what would that version of me be like, and who's the man that could handle her at full power? You wouldn't have said it if you weren't ready. See how the script just flip it to her, not longer just the guy giving compliments. You're the mirror reflecting who she really is and who she could be. That's how obsession begins. Let's be honest, most men spend years trying to figure out the perfect pickup line, the perfect text, the perfect strategy to impress women. But they completely miss secret weapon words that awaken her identity. That's what these forbidden compliments do. They don't aim for her approval, they aim for her reflection. Now let's take what we've already unlocked and go even deeper. Let's circle back to that last compliment. You'd be dangerous if you ever stop doubting yourself. Do you know why the hits like lightning? Because it speaks to the part of her that's still becoming. Most guys only validate who she is right now, her looks, her status, her attitude. But you're addressing the unrealized version of her, the woman she knows is hiding beneath surface, the part of her she hasn't fully stepped into because of fear, self-doubt, or past pain. And you didn't just acknowledge it, you dared her to own it. That's not flirtation, that's leadership. You're not saying I like you, you're saying you have no idea how powerful you'd be. And that excites. Boom, now she sees you as more than a man, she sees you as a mirror. And here's where things get dangerous, because when a woman feels that a man can hold space for her greatness, she begins to associate her evolution with his presence. That's what creates emotional imprinting. It's not about physical attraction anymore, it's about psychological gravity. She starts thinking, why do I feel more myself around him? Why do his words echo even when he's gone? Why can't I just brush him off like the others? Because you didn't chase her, you challenged her, and deep down, every high value woman craves that tension. All three of these forbidden compliments pass the test, the challenge her ego without attacking it. They respect her strength while seeing her softness. They ignite her ambition while holding her gently accountable. That's emotional alchemy. You've just created desire, vulnerability, and trust all at once. But here's the catch. You can't fake this energy. If you use these lines hoping for a reaction, the full flat. Why? Because the delivery matters more than the words. You have to mean it, you have to feel it, you have to be the kind of man who's not impressed at beauty, but by truth. The moment you become the man who says these things, not to manipulate, but because you live with depth and clarity, that's the moment women start craving your presence, not your praise. And that brings us to something deeper. Why don't most men ever learn how to compliment like this? Because they were taught that being direct means being dominant, or that being sensitive makes them weak, or that compliments are tools to get attention instead of gifts to offer presence. But that's not stoicism, that's insecure wearing confidence as a costume. Real stoic masculinity is silent strength, it's emotional precision, it's knowing when to speak and saying the thing that leaves her soul a little quieter. Because he finally felt seen. These compliments aren't strategies, they're reflections of how you see the world, and how deeply you're willing to look into someone else's doubt. Let's take this one step further. What happens after you say these compliments? What if she pulls away? What if she gets quiet? What if she suddenly starts texting more, calling more, showing up more? Good, because each of these responses means she's processing something. You've shifted her state of mind, her silence. That's her thinking about what you said. Over communications, her trying to anger the feeling you just gave her. Your job: stay calm, stay centered, don't chase the outcome, let her navigate the shift. You already planted the seed. Your compliment did its job. It disrupted her autopilot. And no, she's starting to see you not just as Amen, but as a mirror of what she could feel more often. And guess what? Most guys don't have the patience to wait for that transformation. But the man who does have becomes unforgettable. Now, before we wrap this up, let me leave you with one final truth. The most powerful compliment you'll ever give a woman is your attention. Not attention out of thirst, but attention that's anchored in silence, in presence, in groundedness. You could say none of these 3 lines out loud, but if you carry the energy behind them, she'll feel it anyway. She'll feel that you're not trying to fix her, that you're not impressed by performance, that you don't need her validation, because your self-worth isn't negotiable. And ironically, that's when she craves yours, because women don't want perfect men, they want centered men who see what others miss, men who speak when it matters, men whose words are bait but truths she didn't know she needed to hear. Be that man. If this video mattered something and you shift, if it opened your eyes to how deep female psychology can go, you're exactly the kind of man this channel was made for. So here's what I want you to do: subscribe right now, hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And remember, you don't need more compliments, you need more clarity, more courage, and more stillness, because when a man speaks from there, she doesn't just hear it, she feels